October the 5th. Here's some more of the story. Gideon divided 300 men into 3 groups and gave each man a ram's horn and a clay jar with a torch in it. Then he said to them, "Keep your eyes on me. When I come to the edge of the camp, do just as I do. As soon as I and those with me blow the ram's horns, blow your horns too, all around the entire camp, and shout, 'For the Lord and for Gideon.'" It was just after midnight, after the changing of the guard, when Gideon and the 100 men with him reached the edge of the Midianite camp. Suddenly they blew the ram's horns and broke their clay jars. Then all 3 groups blew their horns and broke their jars. They held the blazing torches in their left hands and the horns in their right hands, and they all shouted, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." Each man stood at his position around the camp and watched as all the Midianites rushed around in panic, shouting as they ran to escape. When the 300 Israelites blew their ram's horns, the Lord caused the warriors in the camp to fight against each other with their swords. Those who were not killed fled to places as far away as Beth Shittah near Zererah and to the border of Abel Meholah near Tabbath. Then Gideon sent for the warriors of Naphtali, Asher and Manasseh, who joined in chasing the army of Midian. And so it is that at the end of the chapter, the stragglers are rounded up and some of the leaders' heads are brought back to Gideon as a trophy. There's nothing really clever to say at the end of this story. My thought for the day, or my summing up of this part of the story, is simply to say, this is the moment at which God did exactly what he said he would do. He'd chosen Gideon, the least important member of the least important family of the least important tribe of Israel, in order to defeat the Midianites. He'd whittled the army down to 300 men, and he had planted that dream of doubt in the enemy, so that at the moment Gideon called out and the jars were smashed by the enemy surrounding the Midianites, imagine the noise followed by the blowing of the ram's horn and that cry, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." All of that doubt meant that they flew into a panic, started to fight anyone who was near them, killed each other, and in the end, if they weren't dead, they ran away. God had showed it was him who was in control. He knew exactly what to do in Gideon's heart and in the heart of the enemy. He had shown that when Israel cried out to him, he would provide the leader they needed, he would provide the plan they needed, and he would provide the victory they hoped for. So what do you think they did next? Well, that's the saddest part of the whole of the story of Gideon. But that is tomorrow's story. For today, I want you to think on Gideon's victory, on how his insignificance placed in God's hands brought about the victory God promised, because God always keeps his promises. God is always enough. Even when we don't see it, even when we don't understand it, God is always enough. So, will God be enough for you this week? Where will your Gideon moment be this week? When in spite of the insignificance, in spite of the doubts, you see God is at work, ahead of you, beside you, and inside you. I hope you recognize it. I hope you allow him to present it to you. And I hope you give him praise for it afterwards. See you tomorrow. Bye.